know where the fuck we are. It's time for us to start making some serious tracks inland as we continue to search for the presumably extinct thylacine across Tasmania's vast wilderness. The plan was to travel in this general direction, but we've clearly missed a turn somewhere along the way, so I've got no clue where the hell we are. That's the last time I take directions from some creepy old bastard.
Yeah. And along with sending us out bloody whoop-whoop to who knows where, I've felt real crook in me guts ever since we ran into that guy. But don't worry, it'll take more than a bellyache to stop our mission.
So while we're out today heading vaguely southwest, we're going to be taking a look at the Tasmanian Tiger 3, Night of the Quinkan. Released initially in 2005, it opens to a pretty hype intro. No recap of the last game, but we do get a glimpse of what we can expect from this game. Vehicles. Must say though, I do like the look of this horror theme we've got going on in the intro and on the title screen. It looks good, and I'm getting a Treehouse of Horror Simpsons Hit and Run vibe, which is no bad thing. Our story begins with the Bunyip Elder informing Ty of yet another Boss Cass prison escape. We don't get to see it, no, we just get told about it, which is always a good sign. We're informed that during his escape, an ancient evil force known as the Quinkan have entered the Dreaming and are now wreaking havoc. So, off we go apparently. Reminder that Ty's parents were once banished to the Dreaming along with the rest of their protecting force, but no, let's willingly venture off through the mysterious portal. Okay, sure. This place known as the Dreaming has been referenced throughout the series up until this point, and I've got to say, good call actually incorporating some of the mysterious lore into the main story here. The Dreaming, of course, is the modern equivalent of the Dreamtime, believed by Indigenous Australians to be the force of creation for the world, shaping how things are and should be. In the Tasmanian Tiger, it's just some kind of weird city, I guess, inhabited by the mystical Bunyip race, which is another creature from Aboriginal mythology. But before Ty can set off to destroy the attacking Quinkan, he first needs a special gauntlet said to be their one weakness. So now that we've got that equipped, we can finally proceed through the tutorial, engaging in close range, hand-to-hand rang combat. What in the fuck am I seeing right now? Apparently these stubborn bitches won't just go down after any old rang throw, so we need to whack them around a little first. Actually, we need to whack them around a lot, because they have extensive health bars for some reason.
But we're missing the main point here. Boomerangs are a projectile weapon. The Aboriginals use them for hunting, and if you throw one with great accuracy, it'll come right back to you. So what's with all this close range crap? That's like if I had a bow and arrow, rather than firing it from a distance, I just ran up to the target and stabbed them with it point blank. That doesn't make any sense. Ow! Oh, fuck.
Fear not though, because literally 12 enemies and some slow, plodding combat later, we're given the Shadow Bunyip. Christ, I'm beginning to dread playing through this game. After clearing out the Quinkan and watching a quick training montage where Ty does nothing but push-ups for several months, he and Shazza are separated travelling back to Southern Rivers. We land in some dump and help this tiger named Ridge to defend a small town from a Quinkan attack. Having been given the boot from the dreaming, they've come to invade the real world. But we quickly learn that this dump is actually what's left of Barramudgee, the town from the previous game, despite the fact that it looks nothing like it. While Ty was gone, Bush Rescue broke up and moved on with their lives, leaving Dennis in charge of the military operations. So it's up to Ty, Shazza and Sly to reform Bush Rescue and save the world once again. What a poorly paced, awkward and confusing, expositional clusterfuck of an introduction! Anyway, now we're into the actual game, thank God, and our first job is to go and find Maury, who refuses to rejoin the fight. So our only hope of getting him back on the team is by beating him in a demolition derby. Really? That's the first actual level of this game. I'm utterly gobsmacked. Even having this mode felt weird before, but now it's an actual story element? Also, if you're gonna have a demolition derby where the goal is to destroy all of the other competitors, have it in an arena, not a fucking race course. So because of this, you either get stuck doing laps with nobody to kill, or just sitting and waiting to meet up with the other racers. It's not fun! Thankfully, getting Julius and Duke to rejoin Bush Rescue is a little bit more what you'd expect. But this combat style is just so ill-fitting for this game. I'm already sick of it. Enemies take so many hits, and they love to block your attacks as well, which is just my favourite. Thankfully, the frills can still be taken out from a distance with just one hit. How it should be for games like this, in my opinion. There is nothing worse than just getting stuck in ugly, button-mashing roadblocks at every single enemy. Platformers should be fast-paced and breezy to play through, not clunky and stubborn. But with the team back together, it's time to head out into Southern Rivers where the real missions begin. It looks nothing like Southern Rivers, but still, they've at least tried to scale the size back drastically, and instead of a truck, we've now got a crab mersible, which totally isn't contrived at all. It is a lot more versatile for this barely open world play style, and with enemies all over the place, we actually have something to do between levels, but why would you want to stop? You can pretty much just run through and bypass everything and be no worse off in the long run. Even death doesn't take more than 5 seconds off your journey because you respawn immediately. I just wish we didn't have to go through all this, as it's just a transitional space rather than an actual area you'd like to explore and play around in. Look at Jak 3 for example. Yes, there isn't a whole lot in this world to explore, but you can still get out and continue on foot at any time. And you might even find something hidden away. It certainly beats this designated parking just to find more fucking vehicle shit, that's for sure.
There is no hiding from it this time. I mean, not that they tried to hide the amount of vehicle stuff in the previous game, but there were at least some normal levels to start off with. Ty 3, on the other hand, just fucking front loads that shit.
Along with the big race with Maury, we've already got a second race where the gimmick is a lack of decent steering. Then there is all the various foot missions that take place entirely inside mech suits, which of course means more mindless mashing combat. Fuck right off. But we've also got a new vehicle in the Gunyip for some air combat. Honestly, it's not actually that bad at all, but, you know, some platforming or any normal gameplay would go down pretty well right now. But there is none of that here, it seems. I'm already up to the first boss, and so far, I've only had the combat tutorial, a combat arena, a flying segment, 2 kart races, 2 mech levels, and only one somewhat normal level. which by the way was primarily a terrible escort mission. Just fuck off, you cunt. All this spells is a lack of inspiration for me, like they had absolutely nothing else to do here. It's not like we ran out of level ideas in the first fucking game, so we had to recycle them, and then in the second game, we had to combine what new level ideas we had left with a bunch of average and boring minigames. Well, Tie 3 is a fucking minigame collection with some combat thrown in. What a total piss take. Crash and Spyro Fusion features more platforming than this. And as for this first boss, aside from it being the best thing so far, is just so generic and low energy that I don't even care anymore. Which is upsetting because right after this, we actually get a normal level. Oh my god, they do exist! I can't believe my eyes. It's just so nice to not be in a vehicle. So, it must be time for a mech suit boss fight.
Oh, fuck!
At the very start of this level, Shazza is dingo-napped by the Quinkan, but during the pursuit, we're blocked and have to fight off this mech suit character. It's revealed to be Fluffy, who informs us that Boss Cass has been talking with the Quinkan and might be able to tell us where Shazza has been taken. So, for now anyway, we're in alliance with Fluffy. We've also opened up the second part of the map, which is, unfortunately, a segmented mess. Even with the smaller maps, they still have to make travel as tedious as possible by placing fences to block off areas directly adjacent from one another. It's just forcing us to take the longest route possible. Not to mention, the game can barely keep this place rendered and continuously stops Ty in his tracks for a fun fact while everything loads. Did you know it takes 5 full years to generate a single fun fact? Well, I know that now. Did you know that stopping the game to tell me this 3 fucking times in a single trip would shit me to fucking tears?
Oh, Jesus Christ. After playing this, I know exactly what I'm gonna do if I ever find one of those bastard tigers alive. This way!
So, off to find Boss Cass inside Cassopolis. Apparently the front door to this entire futuristic city is through a drain pipe. That one makes a whole lot of sense, especially when we come out into a floating city. You know, it really gives off that impression from the swamp outside, let me tell you. Cass offers to help us find Shazza if we can do some chores for him, which leads into the next set of missions. More flying, more kart races, more mech suits, but luckily, it also means more regular levels. But that ratio is still so far out of whack, it's not even laughable anymore. The thing Ty started off really good at just takes a total back seat in this game. And rather than continue to improve that formula, it's been repeatedly pushed into the background while all of this other crap just gets added on top. We've still got hidden collectibles that mean nothing, the rangs that were supposed to be a big deal but have ultimately meant nothing through the entire series, are somehow even more worthless yet again because of the close quarters combat. But then because Chrome needed a selling point, I guess, they've added in this extensive rang customization feature. The short version is that you can equip each rang with special abilities, like fire, ice, a zoom function, and the ability to pick up items while in flight, to name a few. When combined, some become incompatible, while others can unlock stronger stats for the boomerang. But of course, as we all know, none of that means a fucking thing if we're just banging them over Quinkan heads in the one lonely combat level between 20 other vehicle stages. I just don't get this structure at all. Who saw this and thought it made a lick of sense? And do you know what this reminds me of? Jak and Daxter: The Lost Frontier. The fucking bastardization of its entire series, and I'm sure the real reason we haven't had a new game in over a decade. It's got the same watered down, boring levels that ultimately take a back seat to a lot of flying or various other gameplay styles. Both have collectible items that mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. Lost Frontier has far too many weapon and vehicle upgrades that have zero impact on the overall game, much like we can see here with the different rang options in Tie 3, and just like Tie 3, there is a whole bunch of running back and forth between each area, praying for it to all be over as soon as possible. But I never thought I'd see the day when I'd have praise for this game. At least, it still represents what Jak and Daxter was, but Tie 3 is just so far gone from what made it such a promising newcomer in the first place that it's embarrassing. Look at this second boss fight, where we have to fly around shooting at this demonic dragon thing. Imagine walking in on this. You wouldn't know what the fuck you were looking at, because what does this have to do with Ty the Tasmanian fucking Tiger? Nothing! There isn't a single thing here that even relates to the Australian outback theme Chrome nailed out of the gate just 3 years prior. It stinks.
Can you smell that? I've caught the scent of thylacine scat on the air. That means we must be close. Oh my! Look at this shit here! God, this tiger we've been tracking must be bloody huge to drop a whopper of this scale. And if the comparisons to Lost Frontier weren't enough, I'm getting some real PTS fucking D seeing this filth.
Of course, the year following Tie 3, we'd see Chrome's latest project, The Legend of Spyro: A New Beginning, the start of a depressingly abysmal trilogy that featured, of course, sluggish, drawn-out and boring, repetitive close-range combat. Wow, does that sound familiar? You can actually see the influences in the gameplay here forming the seed that would grow into that series, the first two games of which were both developed by Chrome. It's actually insane in retrospect just seeing how similar they feel.
We'd better keep on this trail. I think we might finally be onto something.
After saving Shazza from the Dragon Queen, the team set off in search of a mysterious lizard, Steve, who defeated the Quinkan many years ago. But tell me, since when is Ty known for tiny, claustrophobic hallway levels? I hate to repeat myself anymore, but this couldn't be further from the original game's design. Anyway, Steve here was actually a collectible in the second game, which, along with the continuous references to the dreaming, I do like Tie 3's use of pre-existing world building coming full circle into the main plot of this game. It's about the best thing here, to be honest, since yet again, we're on a journey to do more races, more flying, and more sweet fuck all for this game's big finale. Yes, we're in the home stretch at this point. Can you even believe it? To defeat the Quinkan, Ty and Fluffy team up to find the Shadow Ring, which is a powerful rang variant along with the various Shadow Stones required to power it. But of course, events happen and they're scattered all over the place. Q doing mundane tasks in order to collect the collectibles cliche. It's just so exhausting playing this game. With all of the travelling around and waiting on loading screens, abundance of padding and just nothing all that interesting going on, it drags on like nothing else. But then, all of a sudden, the last two levels before the final gauntlet both take place in a mech suit, both take place in the same level, and both are over in less than 2 fucking minutes. Seriously? It took longer to get into the level than it did to actually play through it. Because of some weird glitch, the game thought I needed to purchase a specific power-up, despite already owning it, and locked me out of the level for a while. Honestly, I wish it never let me in, because the drastic and immediate decline of this series, let alone this abhorrent fuck-up, has left me with nothing but hatred for this Tasmanian tiger.
Shh. Look over there. Wow. You know, this is such a special moment. We set out on this journey with the ambition to show that nature will always find a way. And now, we've found a Tasmanian tiger in the flesh. Man, I've dreamed of this day for too long. Do you understand? And now, it's time to end this. Fuck! I don't care if that's the last tiger on this entire fucking island. I'm not going home empty-handed.
The group head off to face the Quinkan, but before we can begin the final gauntlet, they try to fake us out with the death of Shazza, Fluffy and Sly, but they're recovered almost immediately after. So that's 30 seconds of my life I'll never get back. This ending begins with a lengthy trench run in the Gunyip, killing more of the same enemies over and over again. Phase 2, Ty sets off on foot against Quinkan resistance. I mean, you could stop and fight all of them, if you really wanted to, or you can just run past everyone. Another mark of a truly excellent game. And finally, we meet the Quinkan face to face, who has taken the form of Boss Cass. We learn that Cass was responsible for inviting the evil forces here to begin with, but ultimately ended up working for them. So then he transforms into his normal form, I guess, as Ty grabs his shadow ring, ready for a fight. Man, this is fucking terrible. It's just slamming your controller and praying to God he goes down before you do. He has a little growth spurt and we fight some more. Thankfully, he's a lot easier to take out in this form, so it doesn't take long for the game to be over. The real Cass shows up with our friends in captivity and plans to take out both Ty and the Quinkan with a single shot. He counts down from 3 and all hope seems lost before Fluffy sacrifices herself to save Ty and everyone else. I'll admit, it's a pretty big twist. But oh Jesus, do we really have to see the blast zone? I'm not even sure if I'm ethically allowed to show that on this channel. They'd probably be poking her corpse with a stick, if there was anything left. Still, it is a very somber moment that's immediately dismissed with the super cheery music to close us out. Ah, what a happy ending, guys. Job well done. At least the poor girl gets a statue dedicated in her honour. Here lies Fluffy. She will be sore tomorrow when she wakes up in pieces.
Yeah, and she won't be the only one waking up in pieces. When I catch this damn tiger...
This ending is just an underwhelming mess. Gameplay-wise, it's total garbo, but story-wise, I get what they were going for, but Fluffy only had one allied mission with Ty across 3 games, and gets blown away for her trouble. and nothing was said. Nothing was done, and there ain't nothing left to do in this game. Also, what happened to Ridge, that badass dude from the start? He did fucking nothing the entire game, so why was he even included? All I can say is Night of the Quinkan is a mess of a game. Much like the second title, Bush Rescue, it would be wrong to say that any of these individual modes were in any way terrible, because they're honestly not. Most of them are average at best, but combined together, taking up the entire game is just unfucking acceptable. When you look back to the first game, where we had only one instance of a vehicle being used, comparatively, we spend that same minuscule amount of time not in some overly gimmicked level for Tie 3. Then throwing on top of that this terrible combat system for what little actual footwork we do get is just an insult to the player.
Yeah, not to mention that they plastered this terrible combat all over the box as a selling point as well. Face-to-face close rang combat, which we already established is just a total crock because the boomerang is a projectile weapon, over 1,000 possible rang customizations, and wicked crazy combos that make battling Quinkan a blast? I'd rather blast my brains out than fuck with this thylacine any longer.
But the thing is, I'm not sure who to be mad at with this. Chrome, the Australian development team who should bloody well know better, or Activision, the new publisher for this title. EA published the first two games, so switching to Activision is like choosing between a kick in the nuts and a kick in the balls. But I just get the feeling these are the decisions of someone out of touch who doesn't know any better, just looking for something to market. Regardless of where the blame lies, there is no denying that this game is a pathetic flop. Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 3, Night of the Quinkan gets 3 out of 10. Like I said, what we've got here, broken down into their individual elements, are not actually the worst thing imaginable. But seeing where this series started and what it's become, all rolled up into a final package, it's nothing more than a death sentence.
And I say, it's time we put this tiger down. God damn it, Ty! You've broken me like only the worst of games could. This expedition was a mistake. All I wanted to do was go out there and try to find this long-lost, magnificent creature that's fascinated me since childhood, but now I'm just a broken man. I feel sick. I feel disgusted. It's over, guys. It's all over. We're going to crash here for the night and head home in the morning, so until next time, I'm Square-Eyed Jack, and I hope you have a better fucking day than I've had. Thanks for watching.
They say he went mad up there, lost his mind and never come back. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand. Hello? Those sounds. They're coming from the bush. It's like they're calling to me, drawing me in closer. It must be that tiger. He must be close. Don't worry, Ty! I can find you! Stay right there. I'm on the way.
He's on his way now, Ty.